Alright, look, I got it. But this is relapse prevention worksheets. And this is what I've just pulled up online. And this one right here is a relapse prevention plan. And the whole reason I'm doing this is because, like, our relapses, we relapse in our head months prior to a relapse. But if we don't have somebody that knows how to walk us through this kind of stuff right here, you know what I mean? And I'm serious, because you can't just go to this and be like, 5 warning signs that I might use, and then write it down and expect to change without knowing what to look for. But it says 5 warning signs that I might use. Write 5 of them down, and this is good. 5 people who I can call to help me get through a craving, and it don't need to be friends. It's they can help, but it's not going to be good. 5 things I can do to get my mind off of using. That's a number of things, but it's about staying with it. But you can't just, it ain't just like that. It's not that easy. And like this one, it's like my relapse prevention plan: early warning sign, skipping meals, thought, behavior, challenge it. I know that skipping meals makes me more likely to binge. Develop a plan. Keep to regular eating, even though I'll be eating more at Christmas. Dealing with setbacks. Lapse behavior. What led to the lapse? What could I do differently in the future? What do I need to do to get back on track? And then once again, if somebody's not going to walk you through that, you just can't pick that up and be like, yep, this is what I'm going to do. And this one says avoiding relapse. If I were about to relapse, here is a likely situation I might be in. Where, when, with whom, doing what, thinking what, feeling what coping strategies could I use to avoid this relapse? Action strategies, 1, 2, 3. Thinking strategies, 1, 2, 3. Feeling strategies, 1, 2, 3. And that's actually a good one. Source is Nina, whatever, it don't matter. That's actually a good one. And then this one right here is my safety crisis plan. Recognize your warning signs and use your coping skills to keep yourself safe and healthy. Triggers and stressors. Behaviors, situations, and circumstances that put you at emotional risk. That's a big one. Warning signs. Your behavior signals that show you're growing more and more at risk. Call someone and ask for help. Coping skills. What can I do to be calm and stay safe in the moment? What can my support person do to help me? Things to do. My goals for healthy behavior. That's a big thing. That's concrete goals. People to call. 911, Valley Hospital, 1-800-SUICIDE. Yeah, if you're that bad out there. Reminders, but that's actually a good one too. And, but somebody that can't, you've got to be walked through this stuff. I mean, you have to. And these are just kind of charts to try to make you just feel better. But this says tips for avoiding relapse. The most important moment before relapse isn't the final decision to use a drug. It's when you decide to expose yourself to triggers. For example, a trigger could be going to a party or walking through the liquor section at the store. Before encountering your triggers, you still have most of the control, not your craving. And see, I knew what I was going through getting into this. Because, see, that used to be a big trigger for me, seeing it, the visual of it. I know it is for a lot of people, but I had to conquer that. And I never will conquer it, but I have for today. And mentally, I have. I have won that battle, even smelling it and all of it. Because I knew I said, Lord, I ain't changing. I ain't running from that shit. I ain't going to do it. It ain't going to win. It ain't going to have power over me. If I can't go somewhere because of that shit, then the devil's still winning. And it says, if you're feeling the urge to use, try to wait it out. If you distract yourself for even 30 minutes, it's likely your craving will lessen in intensity. It might not totally disappear, but it will become easier to resist, and that's true. But I mean, the whole thing is you stay in it, man, and that it'll go. Focus on replacing your past drug use with new positive activities. If you used to go home after work and drink, you'll need to make a new plan to occupy yourself. Going home and staring at the wall will eventually lead to staring at the wall with a drink in your hand. Yeah, don't try to do this alone. Sharing your goals for sobriety with a friend makes all the difference. Not with one of your close friends. They can hold you accountable when you're making questionable decisions. Well, if he's accountable, then yeah. I'm just going to be to the bar to hang out. I won't drink, and they can offer you kind ear when you're struggling. Remind yourself that cravings will pass. Have you ever had that experience when you are sick where you can't remember what it feels like to not be sick? The same thing happens with cravings. Give it time, and believe it or not, the feeling will go away. You'll have to make sacrifices beyond giving up the drug. If you previously used during specific activities, for example, watching a game on TV, going to concerts, or spending time with friends, you may need to make changes. This might mean not watching the game or making new friends who are sober. This can be really hard, but that's what it makes it a sacrifice, and it is. Have a plan for when things get bad, because at some point they will. People get fired. Hearts get broken. Wow. Did you hear that? Hearts get broken, and sometimes people leave us forever. Did you hear that? God dang, I love researching everything because, man, dang! Develop a plan to get through these major life challenges without the use of drugs before they happen. Wow, they've happened, and I'm making it. Don't become complacent with your sobriety. If you someday consider having just a glass of wine with dinner, don't make the decision lightly. If you've struggled with addiction in the past, you are much more likely to develop an addiction again. Well, of course, throw that out. You don't need to have that glass of wine if you can't stop drinking that shit. You just don't. Every time you drink, you just turn into an ass. And you cuss everybody, or you're the life of the party and just make an ass out of yourself. Don't matter. Can't handle it. Just stop. If you do relapse, don't give up. That's right. A lot of people find it helpful to keep track of how long they've been sober, but don't confuse this count with the true goal of leading a good life. If you're at day 100 of sobriety, that's great. However, if you make a mistake and end up back at day 0, know that you are not starting over. Yeah, you are. You gain knowledge, experience, and confidence. In other words, slipping up is not a license to go on a binge. No, you learn from it. Come up with new rituals. Whoa. How do you celebrate holidays, promotions, or any other happy occasion? If your answer includes any sort of drug, you'll want to get creative and figure out something new. Go wild with a hobby for the day. Treat yourself to a nice dinner or take a weekend trip. Make sure it's something you can get excited about. I can get excited about just being sober. Yeah, that's right. And right here is substance use recall worksheet. Situations, thoughts, and see feelings, cues, urges. And there's, you list whatever, but if you don't have anybody, what are you going to do? Write that down like people go to church? They write notes at church, and then they put them damn notes in their Bible, and they never read them again, ever. I see it all the time. It's all the time. All the time. It's insane. Identifying relapse triggers is important because it is the first step in planning how you will deal and cope with triggers without returning to the problem behavior. Please list at least 10 triggers that you can identify with, 10 things that you can observe, sense, or experience that you think could trigger a craving or that could increase your risk of relapse. One way to determine this is to identify what was happening around you in the past when you engaged in the problem behavior. Remember to consider people, places, things, and life events that could increase your risk. Be specific. For example, instead of just writing something like people I used to use with, add their names in parentheses. And you can go down through there, and that's in depth. And can you think of any others that you'd like to add? If so, use these spaces below. And you need somebody to walk you through that. That is way out there. And here's something that says a coping menu. Coping means dealing with a problem in a safe, healthy, and respectful way. Choose at least one coping skill from appetizers, main courses, desserts. You may add your own idea for custom orders. And listen to music. It depends on what the music is. But this is just more of a comical thing to throw into recovery. But I mean, it's like this. There ain't nothing to play around about recovery. It ain't. And then this goes into, let's see. I'm going to do one more. Where are you at? Here's writing exercise number 2. It says, why are you here? Why are you here? What have you lost as a result of your behaviors? Yeah, besides yourself. How have your behaviors affected those around you? They gone? I'm talking about when you're in the midst of that addiction. Are they gone? Family, friends, and coworkers? Have you ever found yourself quitting only to find yourself using again? Have you repeated the cycle over and over again? Yeah, because that's where the relapse. We don't know. List the times in your life when you have repeated this cycle. I mean, that's serious stuff right there. It says, what behaviors did you show prior to relapse? See, it gets you to think about that. That question gets you, what behavior did you show before the relapse? How did that change from when you were doing well to when you were doing not so well? You know, how did you can go back and see the decline. What relapse triggers did the person demonstrate that you were able to discern? What other relapse triggers did you think the person experienced? What other triggers did you think you experienced before you relapsed? And it says, did you make it through the relapse? Well, yeah, because I'm sitting here talking to you. And here's one that says acting out, stable, danger, warning, high risk. I mean, that's all just different kinds of behaviors. And you can go on here and print all this stuff out. So, but it's hard because if you don't have somebody to walk you through it, then you don't, and right here is negative consequences of substance abuse. Can you write down your negative consequences of substance abuse? Honestly, no, not by yourself. Positive consequences of substance abuse. Nothing's positive from it. Positive consequences of not using a substance. See, there's 3 things that you can write down. And only you, if you can be honest and you can put that on paper, and the only person that's going to know that shit's real or not is going to be you. And if you get honest and put that out, those 3 questions I just threw out there, that will determine how honest you are. Because if you're honest about those 3, it'll show how low down dirty we really are if we're honest. And then we have to work on what's outweighing the positive. And then we have to balance that, and over time we have to raise that balance up to the positive and keep our negative down here. Because all that negative shit got us wearing. It got us looking up stuff to keep us from dying. And, believing in some shit that, it's real. I mean, it's disease. It's real. It is. Just like diabetes and heart disease and everything else. People with the food and everything. I mean, it is. It's a choice. But it's also a disease of obsession. It is. It's a compulsion. And that's what it turns into. And but it's serious. It's life and death for a lot of people, and especially me. But I enjoyed that. Love you.